Good morning at 5:30 this Thursday, January 23rd. My name is Amelia Lee. It's also time to check in with our friend, meteorologist Megan Dusmel, for a look at your forecast this morning. Megan, we have been talking about this cold weather. I'm glad that I am not in it right now. Glad I'm inside with some warmth in our very warm studio. But tell us what's going to happen today, and do we have any hope for some breakage in the cold?
We have a little shred of hope, right? It's like someone's turning on the heater, but they're just doing it one increment at a time, right? So we're going to get slightly warmer as we're heading into the afternoon. There's the good news there. And for right now, another piece of good news is we are nice and dry, as we can see on satellite and radar. Barely any clouds in the sky, too. Now, what I need to note, for you to note, though, is that we do have a slight chance of some snowflakes as we're heading into the afternoon. I'll have more information on that in just a little bit. But let's take a look at those current temps, right? We are in the teens and 20s for most of the area. Do see some single digits, especially as you're traveling more towards Virginia. And we do have some feels like temperature. It's just a little bit cooler than that as the winds are picking up in the more northerly counties in our area. But let's take a look at those forecast highs, looking in the mid to upper 30s for today. Now, here is how we will get to those high temperatures, though. We all start off cold and we will warm up. And this is a pretty big warm up compared to what we've been seeing, having our high temperature around that 3 o'clock hour today, and then starting to cool down as we head into the overnight hours. Amelia.
All right, Megan, thank you. Well, it's not over yet. That's what the director of CAL FIRE says about the wildfire crisis in and around Los Angeles. A new blaze is burning about a football field-sized area every 2 to 3 seconds. Amy Kiley shows us the Hughes fire.
We're not out of the woods yet.
Another large wildfire is spreading quickly toward Los Angeles area homes. The Hughes fire is burning in Castaic, a suburb in the foothills and mountains of northern LA County. Tens of thousands of people who live in that area are under evacuation orders or warnings.
This is the closest one so far.
Several area roads are closed, including a stretch of I-5.
As soon as I heard about it, I figured it was going to be tough to get home, so better to leave early than not be able to get home at all.
The National Weather Service is extending its red flag warning into tomorrow. It applies to most of LA and Ventura counties. The service says Santa Ana winds have been pushing the Hughes fire southwest.
We have engines at the houses that are in front of this fire, there to protect those structures.
Officials say the good news is it's been less windy than when the Palisades fire began. They say that's allowed a consistent aerial attack on the Hughes blaze. They add that having thousands of resources in the area allowed for a fast response. Firefighters are starting to get a handle on the Palisades and Eaton blazes, but the director of CAL FIRE says this new wildfire shows the crisis is ongoing.
And as we continue through these weather conditions, we recognize that it's not over yet. We recognize that we still have a couple of days to go.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
And here's some more good news. Officials say the Hughes fire has not burned any structures as of yesterday evening. This morning, CBS News obtained new internal documents that show President Donald Trump could be weighing whether to send thousands of troops to the U.S.-Mexico border to stop the flow of illegal immigration. Internal documents also direct border agents to immediately deport migrants who cross into the country illegally without allowing them to request asylum. And they instruct the Justice Department to investigate any instances of local and state officials obstructing Trump's enforcement policies.
We're trying to end them, and a lot of the people in those communities don't want them. This was a gross miscarriage of common sense to allow people to come in.
This morning, a federal judge in Seattle will hold a hearing for one of the multiple challenges against President Donald Trump's order that attempts to ban birthright citizenship for the children of undocumented migrants and temporary visa holders. President Donald Trump signed several executive orders on his first day in office. 2 of them follow through on his long-held promise to take a tough stance on immigration. Lexington immigration attorney Heather Hadid says her office heard reports of ICE officers in the area less than 1 day after Trump signed an executive order aimed at addressing what he calls an unprecedented flood of illegal immigration during the Biden administration.
We have areas in town that are known to be, densely populated with, the Hispanic community, and we are seeing that ICE is targeting those locations.
Another executive order signed by President Trump would seek to end birthright citizenship. Hadid says she is worried about the immediate and long-term impact of these executive orders. A Rockcastle County man is in jail following a situation where he barricaded himself. The incident began Tuesday night when police were called to a home on Kelsey Drive in Mount Vernon regarding a shots fired complaint. Troopers say Jason Cope got into an altercation with a family member and fired several rounds from a firearm. After several hours of failed negotiations, police were able to remove Cope after he barricaded himself inside the home. A Perry County man is behind bars after police say he hit a minor who was riding a horse. Deputies with the Perry County Sheriff's Office responded to an injury report in the Happy area last week. Once they obtained evidence and information from witnesses, police got a warrant for James Lumpkins. When police noticed he was on Stacyville Lane on Tuesday, they were able to track Lumpkins down. He was taken to the Kentucky River Regional Jail. We do not know the condition of the minor that was injured. The horse died. In Magoffin County, a Michigan man is facing charges after he was found with drugs inside his vehicle. The incident happened last week on the Mountain Parkway when police reportedly noticed Cortez Harris of Detroit swerving back and forth. That's when they decided to pull him over. During a search of Harris's vehicle, police found substance believed to be meth. Harris was taken to the Big Sandy Regional Detention Center. Today, Secretary of State Michael Adams is getting ready to launch a new initiative to combat human trafficking in Kentucky. That announcement will take place at 10 in the morning in Frankfort. He will be joined by others, including the executive director for the Refugee for Women. People in Harlan County are frustrated with ongoing water outages and low pressure issues, especially in the Wallens Creek area. One resident, Jack Ball, says the water problems have been ongoing since November, with frequent line breaks and little communication from the utility company. Ball also shared concerns about the quality of the water when it does come through the faucet, saying he and his wife stopped using it for drinking or cooking years ago.
And instead of slapping Band-Aids on what's broke, tear it out and replace it. It's not acceptable. This is 2025. We should be able to do better.
Emergency management officials say they will continue to work with the utility district to address the ongoing outages, but residents like Ball are calling for permanent solutions to the problem. Some folks still do not have a place to call home after the July 2022 flood. Now a new website is helping people take the next step in housing. I was able to sit down with Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear about how flood survivors can apply for their new home. A plan for new Kentucky homes, going to survivors of the July 2022 flood.
We are ready to begin construction in earnest. We're going to see hundreds of homes coming up all across eastern Kentucky.
The governor says 300 houses were built or repaired for flood survivors already. Now crews are working on sites throughout eastern Kentucky to create high ground communities.
Those that were impacted, those that were hurt, those that lost so much are first in line as this new housing comes on board and there's this new opportunity.
After the flood, representatives from the Housing Development Alliance, the Federation of Appalachian Housing Enterprises, and other officials joined together to make a plan for housing in the communities.
We said housing can't wait.
To help with the process, the website housingcan'twait.org was launched. Governor Andy Beshear says applying for housing is easy.
All you have to do is go to the website, fill out the interest form.
After that's filled out, he says a representative from Fahey will contact you about possible housing.
We want to make sure that we know your interests so that we make sure that we have enough lots. And that helps us not just this year, but in the years to come to make sure that we're not leaving anybody behind.
Beshear says officials have already received at least 100 applications. Governor Beshear says his goal was to make housingcan'twait.org a simple process and easily accessible. Still to come, Kentucky's favorite quarterback was robbed earlier this year, but soon Joe Burrow could get valuable belongings returned home.
And a snow chance is in the forecast today. I'll tell you when to expect some flurries up next.